Hello everyone, I'm the Saxy Gamer, and today we're here for yet another Civilization 6 Leader Spotlight, where today we'll be taking a look at Rough Rider Teddy. Hi everyone, not Saxy Gamer from the future this time, but rather Saxy Gamer from a different YouTube channel right now, because as some of you who have watched the stream a lot know, we'd like to talk about nuclear energy, because I myself am a nuclear engineer, and a lot of people have questions about things about nuclear energy, so as suggested by the stream chat in yesterday's stream, I am making a second channel that is dedicated to educational content about nuclear energy and nuclear science and things of that sort, so if this is anything that interests you, go ahead and check out the Isotopical channel, which will be linked in the video description below. Thank you, Stream Chat, for the name suggestion as well. And there's no content on it right now, but eventually I plan to produce some for it. So if you're into science or engineering or anything of that sort, go ahead and check out that channel and subscribe to it, so that way you can see the content right whenever it releases. And now back to actual Saxy Gamer Saxy. So for these civs that have been significantly changed or had their leader personas added in the Frontier Pass, I'm going to do kind of condensed leader spotlights for them, where I'm not going to go over every single thing about them, but just kind of gently brush on a lot of the things that haven't changed, and I'll make sure to link the old leader spotlights for these leaders in the description below, and if you want to get more information, you can go check out those, although I'm sure some of them probably are outdated, so maybe at this point I just need to remake some of them, but they definitely are going to be a little bit compressed. So Rough Rider Teddy is the version of Teddy Roosevelt that is more focused on domination and diplomacy, whereas now Bull Moose Teddy, which is the what was the base game version of Teddy Roosevelt, is much more focused on getting a culture victory. So for Rough Rider Teddy, he has Roosevelt Corollary, which gives him the +5 combat strength on his home continent. Also, with this, he now has it so that envoys sent to city-states that you have a trade route with will count as 2 envoys, so pretty much just doubling all the envoys that you send to a city-state that you have a trade route to. Roosevelt Corollary also does give you the Rough Rider, so I should mention that Bull Moose Teddy does not have the Rough Rider anymore. It is now unique to Rough Rider Teddy, quite fittingly. He also still has America's bonus, which is Founding Fathers, which makes it so all of your diplomatic slots are converted to wildcard slots, and you get that 1 diplomatic favor per turn for every wildcard slot in your government. So Roosevelt Corollary is still pretty good. It is very similar to the old Teddy ability, so the 5 combat strength was existing in the base game of Teddy, so that carries over here, but the thing that's changed is instead of the appeal that you get from national parks, you now get this doubling your envoys to city-states that you have a trade route with. This is really, really good for diplomatic victory because it allows you to become the suzerain of really a ton of extra city-states, and every time you become the suzerain of one, you get 1 extra diplomatic favor per turn, so stacking that with Founding Fathers, I'm sure you can probably see that this will add up to being a lot of diplomatic favor. So this new ability is actually very strong for diplomatic victory, probably one of the best diplomatic victory abilities in the entire game. Let's go ahead and take a very brief look at Teddy's unique units. So he has the P-51 Mustang and the Rough Rider. So the P-51 Mustang is a replacement for the fighter, and its major thing is that it gains extra strength against other fighter aircraft, and it also gets extra range and experience. I'm gonna be honest, the P-51 Mustang is, I don't know, it's fine, but like, I find myself not really using aerial combat in Civ 6 very much anyways, so it's kind of a mixed feelings, sort of unique unit. The Rough Rider, on the other hand, is pretty good. It doesn't replace anything, but it will gain extra combat strength whenever you're fighting on hill tiles, and you also get a little bit of culture from kills that you get with the Rough Rider unit. So the Rough Rider is something that is quite good, and it's something that you can actually use for a good power spike toward the later eras of the game. As far as Rough Rider Teddy's unique building is concerned, he as well has the Film Studio, which is a replacement for the Broadcast Center, and it has all the same bonuses as the normal Broadcast Center, but it also doubles your tourism output towards other civs who are in the modern era or above. So this is a ridiculously strong building, probably one of the best in the game, because doubling tourism, something that directly relates to a win condition being culture victory, is really, really strong, and something that you can make use of very easily if you're trying to go for a culture victory. Unfortunately for Rough Rider Teddy, it doesn't really mesh well with the rest of his stuff, but we will talk about that in just a little bit. So now let's go ahead and take a look at the strengths and weaknesses of Rough Rider Teddy in the Frontier Pass. So for the first strength, one of the things that was previously good about the old Teddy was that you get a really big combat strength boost on your home continent, since you're getting +5 combat strength on all of your military units that are on your home continent. So This is really good for both attacking and defending. If you get attacked early on in the game, then chances are you'll be able to pretty easily, fend off anybody that's coming at you. Or even better, you can use this extra combat strength to go and wipe out your nearest neighbor, provided that you don't spawn on a continent split or anything like that. So this combat strength boost is really good for getting you pretty much total control of the continent in which you spawn on, and it can really help you in both offensive and defensive wars, as I had mentioned. The other big strength of Rough Rider Teddy is that he has many avenues to generate diplomatic favor. So already, like, the existing base game version of Teddy was pretty good in terms of diplomacy, but Rough Rider Teddy takes that and even ups it a little bit further, because in addition to the fact that you're going to be getting diplomatic favor from every wildcard policy slot that you have, so that was already very good with regular Teddy, now you're able to become the suzerain of a lot more city-states by sending trade routes to them, and this is something that is really strong. You can get more diplomatic favor than pretty much anyone else in the game, and it becomes very easy to really win and just kind of, stiff arm your way through most of the World Congress in order to get yourself towards a diplomatic victory. Rough Rider Teddy does have quite a few weaknesses, though. I think he has more than, either base game or the new Bull Moose Teddy does. So the one big thing that I find with him is that he does have quite conflicting play styles. So he kind of wants to go and, beat people up, but he also wants to play for a diplomatic victory, and those two things don't quite mesh together, because as you attack people and generate grievances or take somebody else's capital, you're going to be losing diplomatic favor per turn, so it kind of cancels out the other bonuses that he gets. So this is something to keep in mind, is that generally when you're playing Rough Rider Teddy, you probably want to go for either domination or diplomatic victory. Unlike someone like Menelik, who is also fairly new and has multiple victory types that they can go for, you can't really play for both and then just decide later on what you want to go for, because the more and more you get into the domination game, the harder and harder it is to win a diplomatic game. So you kind of have to decide fairly early on which one you're going to go for, and just for those reasons, I think that he has a bit of a conflicting playstyles issue. And the other thing is, the film studio works for culture victory, which is great, but he really has nothing else going for culture victory, so it's a nice bonus, but compared to the other ones, it just doesn't mesh at all with them. The other really big weakness of Rough Rider Teddy is that you lose your combat edge when you leave your home continent, and this is really impactful for a domination game, because obviously if, you're going to eventually have to leave your own continent if you want to take everybody's capitals and win a domination game, but as Rough Rider Teddy, the second that you leave your own continent, you're going to lose pretty much the entirety of your domination edge, and be pretty much, like a civ that has no bonuses towards domination. So for that reason, that's a major weakness of him, and definitely something to consider is that whenever you're playing Rough Rider Teddy, the amount of strength that you gain by taking over your own home continent has to be enough to, kind of push you and give you enough of an advantage to be able to very easily go and wipe out everyone else afterwards. And now it is that time to give Rough Rider Teddy his tier ranking. So if you're new to this series, all that you really need to know here is that we are using kind of the standard tier rating scale of S being the highest tier, and then A, B, C, D, and F going down. So domination is up first, and I think that Rough Rider Teddy deserves a B. This is what I had previously given the base game version of Teddy, and Rough Rider Teddy is practically identical to base game Teddy in terms of domination strength, so you get that extra combat strength on your home continent, which is very nice, but as I mentioned, losing that as you leave your home continent really weakens your ability to play a domination game. He has two unique units, but the P-51 Mustang is kind of underwhelming, and as is the Rough Rider. It's definitely not it's not a terrible unique unit, but it's definitely not one of the best in the game either, so for all of those reasons, I think that Rough Rider Teddy deserves the B in domination. As far as science is concerned, I think he deserves a C. Not really much to explain here. He doesn't really get any bonuses towards it, but there's also nothing stopping him necessarily from going science. He doesn't have any drawbacks, so for those reasons, he just deserves the simple C. Culture is up next, and I do think that he deserves an A in Culture, although he doesn't have the same amount of bonuses as the existing base game or even Bull Moose Teddy does towards Culture. The fact that the film studio doubles your tourism output is still so strong towards Culture, and pretty much any leader that has an ability that's that strong towards a direct win condition is going to be pretty good at a specific victory type. So even though he's lacking a lot of other bonuses towards Culture victory, the fact that you can double the very thing that contributes towards your win condition makes him still a fairly decent cultural civ, and you still can play Culture victory on Rough Rider Teddy. You can go and steal a bunch of land from people early on with your Roosevelt corollary, and then use that land to have space for national parks and seaside resorts and things of that sort. So for those reasons, I think that he still deserves an A in Culture. Religion is up next, and much like with science, he doesn't really have any bonuses, but also nothing that's keeping him back from playing a religious game, so for those reasons, I think he deserves a C. And Diplomatic Victory is up last, and this one is very easy because I think that he deserves an S in Diplomacy. He is very good at playing a Diplomatic Victory, in addition to the fact that he gets the Diplomatic Favor from his wildcard policy slots, and also gets more wildcard policy slots. He's very strong because he can become the suzerain of a lot of city-states, which is really helpful towards generating Diplomatic Favor. And then, as I mentioned, you can kind of just, brute force your way through most of the World Congress by just having way more Diplomatic Favor than everybody else. So for this reason, I think he's probably one of the best diplomatic civs in the game and well deserving of the S tier ranking. And for his overall ranking, I think that he deserves an A. I almost gave him a B here, admittedly, but the only thing that I think makes it so that he gets an A is the fact that he's so strong at Diplomatic Victory. So I think, myself personally, I kind of undervalue Diplomatic Victory because it's not a victory that I find particularly fun. So a lot of the time when I play Diplomatic Leaders, I'm like, wow, these guys suck. But Teddy is definitely very strong at Diplomatic Victory. So if you're going to go for a Diplomatic Victory, then he's a very good leader. And I think he's definitely within the A tier of overall rankings just because of how strong he is at that. And he does have some bonuses towards other victory types as well. So a little bit of versatility and things to help you out along the way. Therefore, giving him the A tier ranking. So thank you everyone for watching. I have been the Saxy Gamer. If you enjoyed the video, feel free to like. If not, feel free to dislike. If you're looking for some more Civilization 6 content, feel free to subscribe. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.